And we are live. Welcome back, everybody, to Beyond the Tool Belt, episode 312. I am your host, Ty Cobb-Backer, and thank you for joining us on this Wednesday edition. We will be back after our short intro from our sponsors.
TC Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. TC Backer.
This isn't motivation, it's reality. Built in the trenches, forged through mistakes, paid for with scars, no shortcuts. Just real leaders doing real work. Every week, we pull back the curtain on the weight of real leadership. If you're still standing, you belong here. Please welcome your host of Behind the Tool Belt, Ty Cobb-Backer.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Behind the Tool Belt, episode 312. I am your host, Ty Cobb, and today, family, today marks a special day. I mean, it really is. I don't know if anybody realize or can fathom. I know I can't digest 312 episodes, 6 solid years of showing up every single week, live, no matter what is going on in life, no matter what is going on in business. And that doesn't even count the endless episodes that we've done at roofing conventions, trade shows, and everywhere in between. So first, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who has followed us, inspired us, pushed us, made fun of us. Thank you. Seriously, sincerely, thank you for growing with us, and for letting us be a small part of your journey. This community, it means everything. It really does. Vic and I were talking about that a little while ago, right before the show here, where, this community is everything. And now with us wrapping up, the year and a brand new one right around the corner. Today's episode is going to be, pretty much all about setting intentional goals and removing people, places, things that don't serve our, our health, our wealth, our spiritual well-being, and learning how to, ride out the highs and the lows and the ebbs and flows, all the good stuff without losing ourselves. And this one for me is going to hit home. So let's talk about the power of consistency. I don't think there's any better topic to end the year outside of consistency. And when I look back over the past 6 years of going live every single week, consistency is probably the most and number one thing that I'm proud of, because let's face it, consistency isn't sexy. Okay. It's not glamorous. It's not, nobody gives a shit. Nobody knows, how consistent you're being. And it's not anything that anybody claps for. And I want to just give a big shout out to, Vic for being as consistent with me on this journey, and anybody else who has followed us and helped us in any way, shape, or form, from the early days of Shane to Gary's Basement to when Chris Baker and I were rocking and being creative and throwing out some of our best ideas and some of our most creative work is the foundation of where this is all started, and the consistency. We wouldn't be here. Consistency is everything. It's how a business is built. It's how a reputation is built. It's how a life is built. And, the truth is, consistency, it doesn't care. It doesn't care how you feel today. It doesn't care that you're tired. It doesn't care that your phone is blowing up or if things at home are difficult. Consistency asks only one question: did you show up? Right? The greatest aren't great because they got lucky. They're great because they refuse to quit on the days when most people would quit. And look, you're listening right now because somewhere inside you is a desire for more. Okay. More for your family, more for your business, more for yourself. Okay. Consistency is the price for admission for that more. Okay. It's the toll you pay on the way to greatness. And if you want 2026 to look different than 2025, you don't need more motivation. Okay. You don't need the perfect plan. And God knows I've waited for the right conditions, the right weather patterns, the right people. You don't need a perfect plan to get started. What you need to do, suit up and show up, and sometimes even shut up, right? You need to show up when you're tired. You need to show up when you're stressed. You need to show up when no one's clapping for you. 312 episodes, right? And I feel like we're just getting warmed up. I feel like we're just getting started. We have new goals that we're setting with intention, okay, for 2026. And we've been working on these goals, not starting today knowing, that January 1st is right around the corner. And if you haven't set any goals, that's okay. That's okay. I've sat in my office January 1st, that Monday morning, kicking myself in the butt because I didn't know what we were going to do for marketing for 2026. And that's a true story. So I called a meeting. Vic and John, what are we doing? Sorry, I was asleep at the wheel. I was probably traveling all over the country or whatever it was. And the golden goose was getting ill because old Ty Backer was more focused on the golden eggs that this goose was laying, right? We all get caught up in stuff, and that's okay. It's never too late. That's my point. It's never too late to start setting goals, and it doesn't have to be January 1st. Okay. It doesn't have to be the quarter before, doesn't have to necessarily be the quarter after. There's never no good time. It's the time is now. That's the perfect time. And so when you're setting goals, and not just the kind of goals that you scribble down on a Post-it note, and God knows, and Vic knows, and anybody that's ever been in my office knows I live off of Post-it notes. I live in notes off of, my iPad, my iPhone, my MacBook. I got notes everywhere. Okay. But nothing beats the old trusty Post-it note with the sticky back. Love those things. Still have at least a dozen of them on my desk right now. But these aren't the goals I'm talking about. Okay. Not the goals that, we forget come January 15th. And I'm guilty of this. I'm talking about intentional goals that align and that are measurable. Okay. Yesterday we had a meeting and I kept asking my team, when are we going to start? And when are we going to finish? And we got to do an inventory of our shop. And I think I was annoying them because I was holding them accountable. Okay. What day are we starting? What team are you formulating? And when are we going to have this finished? Okay. I'm so guilty of leaving things open-ended. Whether it's delegating something, whether it's a goal I'm setting for myself, I've learned to become much more intentional and putting things in place to be held accountable. Okay. So it's also a reminder for myself that if I'm making somebody else accountable, then I better lead by example.
Hey, I'm Arnold Baxter with Rooftop Innovations. We're a full-service residential and commercial roofing company proudly serving Houston, Magnolia, Tomball, Cypress, Spring, the Woodlands, and the surrounding areas. We specialize in roof replacements, roof repairs, storm damage restoration, insurance claim assistance, and commercial flat and metal roofing systems. Our core values are integrity, clear communication, quality craftsmanship, and accountability. We believe in doing it right the first time and standing behind our work. You can learn more and schedule an inspection at www.rooftopinnovations.com.
So the three categories that I'm kind of, some of them I'm super intentional about, some of them not so super intentional about, but getting better at. One is my health goals. Talk about it all the time around the people that I'm with on a day-to-day basis. I share with them things that I'm working on, things that I'm eating, how I'm eating, what I'm not eating, how I'm sleeping, new things I'm trying in the gym. And a big place where I find this accountability, I'm going to give Eric O a big shout out, because I was slacking a little bit on our biweekly call, and he has set up an accountability group. And at some point in time, I believe I'm going to be assigned a accountability partner. So on one of the last calls that I was on, not the one yesterday, but the time before that, they were going around the room and asking us what it is that we wanted to work on. Where are we slacking? What is something that we want to improve? And of course, I brought up my health, because let's face it, I'm not getting any younger, right? And I know body in motion stays in motion, Vic. And I also had that conversation a little bit ago. And so I let the cat out of the bag. I'm having issues with my back. I'm having issues with my hip. And there's these stretches and exercises that I have to do. I got to be super intentional about parts and pieces of my body. And if I'm not, then it's only going to get worse. I have arthritis in my hip, and not that I'm trying to avoid surgery, but there are ways that I could improve the flexibility of my hip and the mobility of my hip and the flexibility of my back and my spine and my hip flexors and my glutes and all of the other parts and pieces that connect all that stuff together down there that I've ignored essentially probably my whole life, because when I've worked out, I ran, I lifted weights, I worked on my shoulders, my triceps, biceps, my chest, but never thought, too intensely about my core, my back muscles and those love handles that just mysteriously appeared one freaking day back here. And figuring out ways that I can get rid of that stuff and strengthen up those muscles. So I essentially shared that with them. And see, that's one way that I hold myself accountable, is that I reach out to people, I get vulnerable with people, and I let them know where I'm at, and in hopes that somebody in that crowd will, and I knew somebody on that call that Google Meet was, there's Joe Huffman's on that call. That dude's the freaking biggest meathead that I know. I know he knows how to take care of his body. So I knew I was going to get good feedback, but it started with me getting vulnerable. I had to get vulnerable, because I always want to walk into a room and act like I know everything and I'm the smartest guy in this room. That's just human nature, I think, for most of us, right? But we don't learn that way. We don't continuously we won't keep learning if we're walking around thinking that we have all the solutions and all the right answers and stuff like that. So I have to seek help in certain areas. And one of those is my health goals. And Eric gave me some good feedback too. But not only physical health, but mental health, and my spiritual well-being, am I spiritually grounded? How's my emotional discipline? Okay. These are all things that I'm really, truly, and it seems like every time around this time of year is when, I start digging back into, okay, where did I slack over the past 12 months? Where have I fallen? Where have I failed? Cause this is the deal. If we're not well, we can't lead well. Okay. Whether it's our household, whether it's our division, our department, we just can't work well with others. Right. And, so that's definitely something I'm being super intentional about too. This year moving forward. And I would say the other one would be, wealth goals. Okay. And wealth and success. And you can slice and dice that up any way you want to. And I don't necessarily mean fortune, or fame. When I talk about wealth, I talk about, what wealth means to me is, time freedom, financial control, making decisions without fear. Okay. Being okay with myself, feeling good in my own skin, creating opportunities for others, being surrounded by people that love me, support me, and my family's health. Okay. And that's what I mean by wealth. All of those things. Yes, it can mean monetary things, but everything that I just touched on is what wealth means to me. Okay. And providing opportunity for other people is probably at the top of the list. And of course, my family and surrounding myself around people that love and support me and don't poke holes in my dreams and just want to disagree and argue and push back and create a whole bunch of fucking drama. Right. So purpose and people that share my purpose and have that spiritual alignment. Right. Because if the inside is at war, okay. And I'm only speaking from experience because I've had turmoil, war going on inside my head, going on inside my heart. The outside world will never bring peace, right? It's all an inside job. And we talk about that just about every frickin' podcast. And I can't emphasize that enough, right? We got to get right with ourselves, right? If we want to get right with our families, we want to get right with our coworkers, we want to get right with our business, whatever. It's all inside job. Right. It usually takes place behind closed doors where you're not getting that applause. You're not getting the clap. You're not getting that pat on the back. Okay. It happens on the garage floor. It happens when you drop to your knees outside of your bed. When you roll out of bed in the morning and you drop to your knees, that's when it happens. No one's back there to pat you on the back and say, way to pray every morning, Ty. Or when I pick the phone up when it feels like 10,000 pounds and I'm struggling with something, but I know somebody's out there that has the answer to my solution. Okay. And being vulnerable. That's where real growth happens. Okay. And this is the thing about goals. Okay. Most people set goals based upon, the person who they are right now. Okay. I'm guilty of it. I've done it for decades. Okay. But your goals should be set by who you want to become, your future self. I think I got that from Ed Milet, your future self. I'm sorry. That was a Patrick Bet-David line, which we talked about him a little bit this morning too. Choose your enemies wisely, bud. So that version of you that wakes up early, okay, that eats better, that leads stronger, earns more, loves more deeply, right? And gives more generously, okay? Let that person set your goals, okay? Write them down. Say them out loud, okay? Review them every morning beyond January 15th. Every morning. Write it on a Post-it note, whatever. Put it in the notes. Put it on your calendar, so you get it notified every morning. Whatever it is you have to do. Whatever devices you have that you work on every single day. Let those goals be the first thing that you see in the morning before you scroll. Let those goals be the first thing that pops up in your head every morning. Instead of waking up with that anxiety or that 1,000-pound gorilla sitting on your chest, because I've done it, been there, did it, especially this time of year around the holidays. Shit starts to get tense. Shit starts to get tight. Worry starts kicking in. I didn't do enough. I didn't earn enough. I'm not giving enough. Like whatever, all this crazy jive crap. Okay. And if it's creating anxiety in your life, dude, my phone is blowing up. Don't you know? Anyhow, review them every morning. Okay. Because goals without repetition are just wishes. It's just hollow words. Okay. Goals without accountability our fantasies. Been there, did that. I can't tell you how many times that I lived with broken promises and wonder why my self-esteem is low. Okay. Because self-esteem comes from all those low self-esteem comes from all those broken promises that you make to yourself every single day, every single week, year after year after year after year. However, if you stop breaking those goals, it would have the reverse effect and give you high self-esteem. Just start. Takes one step. Go for a 20-minute walk. You'll feel much better. I love walking. Walking is such a spiritual thing for me. After about 20 minutes, I love it. I end every single workout with at least a 30-minute walk every single day, damn near. I try to take one day off. Okay. Goals without action are nothing. Okay. Action. Goals should actually be an action word. It should be a verb or a noun. Is it a noun? Verb? Okay. We're going to make goals a verb moving forward. Okay. I'm going to coin that shit. I'm going to coin it. Okay. So one of my goals, and I set out last year to do this, and it's a process, takes time, right? And that's removing people, places, things, and situations, right? And now this one, okay, this is a tough one. This is a tough one for me, right? Every year, and especially right now, as we head into the new one, I'm doing what I call a life audit, okay? A good one, honest one. Something that's going to probably be a painful inventory of what is serving me and what is draining me. Okay. People, right? Unfortunately, it stems around people. And let me tell you something. Okay. You cannot embrace your future self. Okay. While holding hands with people from your past who refuses to grow. Okay. And that took me a long time, man, that I had to change people, places, things in order for my spiritual well-being, my mental health had to improve. There was just certain people that I couldn't run with anymore, whether it was due to old stories, past things that we did together, whatever. And some people are just refuse to level up because your elevation exposes their stagnation, and they don't like it. They're always continuously trying to pull you down, pull you back, and tell you can't do it. You can't do it. Nobody's ever done that before. I've heard that. Dude, do you know how many times I've heard no one's ever done that before? Tell me I can't do it. Seriously, tell me I can't do it. We'll pull some shit off. Right? We were told we couldn't stream live for 12 hours straight. I think we went longer. We figured it out. Facebook was different back then. And we're going back a few years ago when Facebook wasn't the same today. I'm sure you might be able to stream live 12 hours straight today on some platform. I don't even know if Facebook will still let you do that, but we did it. We pulled it off. We figured it out without skipping a beat. Okay. I'm not going to tell you how we did it, but we did it. And, because we got a great team. That's how we did it. Anyhow, so if someone is continuously, constantly, draining your energy, brings drama, feeds your doubts, mocks your dreams, right? Or only calls when they need something, right? You need to create distance. Unfortunately, you need to limit the amount of time that you spend with those people because some of these people are your family. Some of these people are friends, lifelong friends of the family. Could be a coworker, could be whatever. Sometimes there's just no way to avoid these people. So you got to limit your time. You got to figure out how to handle that situation when that situation comes up. Or you just need to avoid those situations. And I'm not talking about people necessarily when I say situations, but I've put myself in a lot of stupid situations that just drain me financially, drain me spiritually, drain me, just wear me down to a nub. And when I look back and do my life audit, I realize that I'm the one that put myself in all these situations. I'm the one that surrounded myself around these naysayers. I'm the one that brought the drama on. Whether I started talking shit on somebody or bringing drama to the table, I'm the one. Okay. And listen, removing people doesn't always mean cutting them out. That's not the point that I'm trying to make here. Sometimes it means changing their access level. Okay. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. Some people deserve the balcony seat. Shit. Some people outside the building, that's the seat they get. Okay. Doesn't mean you got to cut them off. Places, right? There are environments that keep me small. There are environments that keep my thinking small. There are environments that just aren't conducive to my mental health, my spiritual health, or my well-being. There are places where my old habits live that I choose not to go back to today. Places that trigger the worst version of me. Okay. And some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I just choose not to go to crazy town today. We don't go to crazy town. We just don't. I avoid it like the plague. I don't have to. I like my life today. I like it. I love my life. And if these environments, if your environments don't challenge you, right, don't stretch you or inspire you, you need a new one. You need a new one. If the people that you are around, and that's the thing too, when you try to push someone or ask them to do something different and they push back, 9 chances out of 10, they're probably not your people. Okay. If someone's not willing to try something that they don't normally do on a day-to-day basis, or I don't know how many times I can count where I've surrounded myself, or I've been around people where it's like, hey, let's do this. Or I was asked to do something that's not my forte. Okay. I worked for people. I've tried so many different things. I was that yes guy. I was that go-to guy at any place that I've ever worked. I wanted to learn how to do things. I knew that I would become more of an asset. I wasn't one of those people who was like, well, I don't get fucking paid to do this stuff. Like, those are the people that you don't want to be around. You want to be around people that are like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do it. I can do this. I'll figure it out. There's YouTube, for crying out loud, today that will show you. There's AI. There's all these things that are out there, these tools, these devices, these platforms, to allow you to stretch your mind, become an asset, be a winner, right? And not, and I'm going to use the word loser loosely here, but that person that just pushes back or doesn't show up, you don't know if they're coming in, or all the, like, you're just hurting everybody. And it's like, you get these people that are like, wow, show them, and I just won't come in today. Well, you're not just hurting that person that might have pissed you off. You're hurting every single person within the organization. Not only are you hurting your check, your paycheck, right? And thinking super small. Okay. But you're hurting the homeowner that we had scheduled that day. Okay. You're making us all look bad. And when this is, in fact, like, we're only as good as the weakest link. We're only as good as the person that calls off every other day because their butt hurts. Okay. Just wanted to put that out there because, and if it's not, and I guess if you're that person that acts that way, if that environment isn't conducive to you, then maybe you should move on. And a lot of times when you think the grass is greener someplace else, until you're gone for about a week, you realize how good you really had it. The freedoms that you had, the opportunities that were presented to you, and the accountability. We all need held accountable, right? Accountability isn't a negative thing. Okay, so if the environment doesn't challenge you or stretch you or inspire you, then you need to find a new environment. It works both ways, right? Things, right? So the things that I want to, when I'm doing my life audit, I guess, unhealthy habits, old stories, limited beliefs, excuses, right? Everybody's got them. Distractions, addictions, chaos that we tolerate. Sometimes the things that these are the things that keep us stuck, right? We feel like we can't live without them sometimes. And the truth is about that is like, you can't grow while holding onto what is actually holding you down. And I think the hardest part about that is identifying it. I love them too much. They love me too much. They can't live without me if I'm not around, because I've been in really bad, healthy relationships, whether it's a significant other or a work relationship or whatever the case might be. And it's like, I didn't even realize that by me pouring into somebody as much, and I'm guilty of this, and I'll pour into people and I get taken advantage of. I can't even see the fact that they're holding me back. They're holding us back. They're holding the entire department back. They're holding the entire company back. They're holding the entire division back. They're holding our family back. They're holding, you know what I mean? It's like these people are like cancer that we surround ourselves with sometimes, and we think they need us. And, and they manipulate us into thinking that we can't live without them. That's the worst. God, thank God I don't have to live that way anymore. And I'm sure there's somebody out there listening right now that might even be upset about the things that I'm saying, which is fine. 9 chances out of 10, if what I'm telling you is upsetting you, it's because it's true. You're having a hard time looking at yourself right now, but hopefully not. Hopefully everybody here can relate to exactly what I'm saying, because you might have somebody in your life. You might have a situation in your life, and a lot of it has to do with procrastination. We're procrastinating taking care of the shit that we need to take care of. And we talked about that. I wish I knew what episode that was, because I think I have a pretty good outline framework on how to deal with procrastination and moving the needle every day and making that call and making that text message, taking care of the things that need to be taken care of that are holding you back or holding you down or weighing heavy on you. Anyhow, the truth is, you got to let those things go, and if 2026 is not the year, it's not the year that we're going to carry around dead weight. It's going to be for me, the year that, we're going to travel light. We're going to travel light this year. Okay. And, and it's not going to be perfect. We're going to have to figure out how to get through the ebbs and flows. Okay. Life has seasons. People come, people go, people die. There's going to be shit that happens, right? Business has seasons. Okay. There are going to be times when you're winning. There are going to be times when you're getting punched in the mouth. Okay. Because we all think we have a plan until we get punched in the mouth. Okay. I stole that from Mike Tyson. It's so true. So freaking true. And if you're listening right now and you know exactly what I'm talking about, here's the thing about the ebbs and flows. Okay. They're not the problem. Your relationship to them is the problem. Okay. Most people think setbacks are signs that they're doing something wrong. They're going in the wrong direction. Okay. I get setbacks all the time. Okay. The pain starts to get great. Okay. That's where the growth happens. Okay. But I'm here to tell you, sometimes the storm is proof that you're closer to the breakthrough than you think. Okay. Diamonds are made under pressure. Okay. Champions are built, right, in adversity, right? We've all heard these things, right? When the momentum slows, right? Don't panic. Been there, did that. Panicked, right? When the results dip, don't quit. Okay. You pick that ball up and you dribble that thing down the court and you slam dunk it. That's what you do. You start planting seeds. You water the hell out of them. You get off your ass. You get busy. You do stuff, right? And when people leave, let them. Okay. Ebbs and flows are not signals to stop. They are signals to adjust sometimes. Okay. Hold the vision. Stay flexible with the plan. Trust the process. We've heard that 100 freaking times. And remember this, that every storm runs out of rain. Every storm. Okay. So roll with the punches. Okay. Never back down. Let's talk about resiliency. Okay. Life will throw swings at you. Business will test you. Trust me. People will doubt you. Okay. Plans will fall apart. Have plans fall apart all the time. But your ability to roll with the punches, to absorb the hit, right? Keep your balance, reset your stance. Okay. That's what makes you unstoppable when you can continue to keep forging forward. Our ability to roll with the punches, okay, to absorb the hits is what defines us. Okay. Not quitting. It's not necessarily the goal that we're trying to reach. It's the journey is what defines us, is what makes us. It's the lessons learned along that journey. Okay. It's not the goal that will define us. It's not the goal. It's not even necessarily the goal, especially if you're anything like me, where I move the goalpost. I'll move it, but it's who I'm becoming along the journey. That's important. The things that I get through, the lessons that are learned, the relationships that I've forged, the questions that I asked, and the things that I've learned, that has, I feel like at times, at moments, more so than not, has made me feel unstoppable, even in my weakest times, because I've stayed consistent and disciplined over the years, where, even when I'm off a little bit, I still feel like I'm outperforming most people, which is a good place to be, but I can't ride on that laurel. I got to move the goalpost. Got to keep it moving. Right. When most people get hit, they fold, right? They start experiencing that pain. They're like, oh man, I must be going in the wrong direction. Nah, man, through pain comes growth. When leaders get hit, that's when we learn. And so every punch should teach us something. Okay. How to protect our peace, how to manage pressure. I'm getting a little bit better at that. And how to trust our instincts. I don't know how many times I've ignored my instincts, but the one thing that I've learned over time is to, stay calm, especially when I feel like everything around me is just shaking, like there's a huge earthquake, and I've learned to, never back down and just keep forging forward and not letting fear control me in a negative way. So, and it means not letting fear make my decisions for me, and not making decisions too quickly based on fear. Okay. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I've learned, that I've made decisions entirely too quickly based upon my short-term emotions. Okay. So I've made decisions that affected long-term outcomes, long-term situations, based off of my short-term emotions. And, I've also, have done that based upon other people's short-term emotions too, that I've allowed affect the company as a whole, my family as a whole, because I was intimidated by having a difficult conversation, because I was afraid that I might hurt somebody's feelings, and feelings are short term. Okay. So the sooner that we can have those difficult conversations or walk through those difficult times, the quicker, the better we're going to feel. Right. And feel the growth eventually start to happen. And then when another situation comes up that might not be as bad or as bad, or maybe even worse. And if we kind of reflect back to some of the hard times that we've walked through before, we can say to ourselves that we've made it through this before. We made it through something similar to this, or even so-and-so has gone through something like that. And if they've done it, I can do it too. Okay. But that's if you're surrounding yourself around good people, good, motivated, less dramatic, drama-filled people. Okay. And remembering why you got started. Okay. Because sometimes I'll get lost in the sauce and refusing to let anything or anyone, knock me off my path. So anyhow, I'm going to try to bring this all together. All right. Because where are we at here? About 39 minutes into it. And I feel like my throat's been getting sore. I think it's the air in here.
It is.
Sucks. I have to do something about that. Howie, where you at? Listening? Howard. Is Howard in the building? Okay. Anyhow, so here we are, 6 years, Vic, 312 episodes, freaking countless stories, lessons learned, unbelievable guest. Okay. A tribe of people who show up, right? Every single week. We got people on here that, show up every single week to listen to this. They support us. They comment. Every now and then we'll get that chucklehead heckler in there. That just motivates us, Yeah, screw them. Right. But as we head into the new year here, I want you to remember this, right? Be consistent, set goals, and that demand a better version of you. Okay. Remove the people, places, things that steal your peace. All right. Expect the ebbs and flows. Prepare yourself. Do hard shit. Okay. Do hard shit intentionally. So when the ebbs and flows come, you can say to yourself, shit, I can lift 300 pounds with my legs. I can get through this. And don't be afraid of them. Don't be afraid of the ebbs and flows. Okay. Roll with the punches, never back down. All right. And keep your spirit in alignment. Okay. Because a tool belt isn't just something you wear on the outside. Okay. It is something you built on the inside. Okay. Strength, honor, vision, character, discipline. That's the real tool belt. Okay. So thank you guys for celebrating 6 years with me. And thank you for tuning in to episode 312 of Behind the Tool Belt. If today brought you any value, share it with people who need it. Okay. If you haven't already, make sure that you are following us, like us, love us, review us, all that good stuff. It's about to get bigger yet. Know that. We got big plans. I love you guys. I appreciate you. And always stay hungry, stay humble, stay committed, and keep building from the inside out, because that's really what it's about. Anyhow, I'm Ty Backer. I'm the host of the host of Behind the Tool Belt. We'll see you next week.